sinked into the chair.
Anna Faris called coming back to this franchise healing. And I need you to sit with that for a second. Because Cindy Campbell, a woman who has been hit by cars, possessed by demons, assaulted by ghosts, and used as a literal prop for other people's punchlines across 4 movies, the person who played her called coming back healing. Not the monster, not Ghostface. Cindy, the joke. 26 years of being the dumbest person in every room she walks into, and Anna Faris is grateful. So here's my question. Who exactly was Cindy Campbell supposed to be? Because here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. We never actually rooted for Cindy. We rooted at her. There's a difference, and it's a pretty uncomfortable one when you start picking it apart. The whole joke of Scary Movie, like the foundational, load-bearing joke of the entire franchise, is that Cindy is stupid. She's slow. She misses every obvious sign. The killer is literally standing behind her and she's looking the wrong way. And we laugh every single time. But Sydney Prescott does the exact same thing in Scream, and we call her a survivor. We call her resilient. We write think pieces about her trauma response. Cindy does it and we just laugh. And I'm not saying that's wrong necessarily. Parody is purity. But I think we need to be honest about what kind of character we've been watching this whole time. Because Cindy Campbell isn't stupid. She's written stupid. There's actually a huge difference. The character as Anna Faris plays her, especially in the first 2 films, has this weird, specific sincerity to her. Like she genuinely wants to do the right thing. She's trying. She is always trying. She just exists in a world that is actively conspiring to humiliate her. And that's actually a really specific kind of character when you think about it. Because most comedy protagonists are in on the joke somehow. They're self-aware, they wink at the camera, they know they're funnier than everyone around them. Cindy doesn't get that. Cindy is completely sincere in a world that is completely insane. And the gap between those 2 things is where all the humor lives. Which, okay, that's actually a legitimate comedic architecture. That's not nothing. That's closer to Buster Keaton than people give it credit for. But here's where it gets complicated. Because that sincerity only works if the audience is laughing with the absurdity of the situation. The moment the audience starts laughing at the person, at Cindy specifically, at her face, at her reactions, at the fact that she just doesn't get it, something shifts. And I think for a lot of people watching Scary Movie, that shift happened pretty early. And nobody noticed. Or maybe they noticed and just didn't care because it was funny. And Faris knew. I genuinely believe she knew exactly what she was doing in those movies. There's a control to her performance that gets completely overlooked because the movies around her are so chaotic. Like, watch her physical comedy in the first film specifically. The timing is surgical. The way she lands a reaction, there's a split second before every punchline where she does this thing with her eyes, this almost imperceptible moment of processing, and then she commits. Fully. No hesitation. No self-protection. She throws herself into every bit with this total earnest conviction that is genuinely hard to do. Most comedic actors protect themselves a little. They leave a small exit. Faris never did. And because the movies were so loud and so crude and so relentlessly juvenile, nobody stopped to go, hey, this woman is actually really good at this. And that invisibility is kind of the whole story of Cindy Campbell, honestly. She survives everything and gets credit for nothing. The franchise gets called a Wayans movie, which it is, but Cindy is the one carrying the emotional through line across every single installment. She's the one we keep returning to. She's the anchor. And yet, somehow she's always treated like a supporting player in her own story. The marketing, the cultural conversation, the legacy discourse, it all centers the Wayans, the spoofed franchises, the gross-out gags. Cindy is just kind of there. And now she's back, 26 years later. And the movie does this thing where Cindy has become a doomsday prepper recluse, estranged from her daughters, hiding from the world. Which is honestly, if you squint at it from a certain angle, the most psychologically accurate thing this franchise has ever done. Because what else would Cindy Campbell be after everything she went through? Like, genuinely. This woman has survived multiple serial killers, supernatural possessions, government conspiracies, and approximately 40 instances of blunt force head trauma. The fact that she went full off-grid hermit mode is not a character flaw. That's called a stress response. That's called your nervous system finally catching up to your life. But the movie doesn't really treat it that way. It treats it like a setup. Like her isolation is just the joke before the next joke. She gets pulled back in, the gang reunites, chaos ensues. And look, that's fine. That's what Scary Movie is. I'm not asking this franchise to become a prestige drama. But I think it's worth noticing that even in her return, even when the movie is literally built around bringing Cindy back, she still isn't really the point. Her daughter Sarah is driving the plot. Cindy is reacting. And that's the pattern, isn't it? That has always been the pattern. Cindy reacts, Cindy stumbles into the plot, Cindy gets knocked around by it, but the plot doesn't belong to her. Even in a franchise that literally has her name, Campbell is basically the Scary Movie brand at this point. She has never once been the architect of her own story. She's always the person things happen to. And I keep coming back to Sydney Prescott because I think the comparison is genuinely illuminating. Sydney, by the end of the Scream franchise, has agency. She figures things out, she fights back with intention, she earns her survival. Cindy survives by accident, every single time. And the movie frames that as comedy, but I'm not totally sure it is. I think sometimes it's just cruelty with a laugh track on top. Because here's what Anna Faris said in that People interview before the release. She said coming back felt healing. She said when people recognize her now, they smile. They go, oh yeah, she's that girl who did that dumb thing. And she said she's embracing it. She said she feels grateful. And I read that and something in me just went, oh, that's sad. That's actually really sad. Not because Faris isn't happy, she sounds genuinely happy, but because the thing she's made peace with is being remembered as the dumb thing. Like, that's the legacy. That's what 26 years of Cindy Campbell gets you. Not, oh yeah, she was that comedian with the incredible physical timing. Not, she built one of the most consistent comedic characters in American parody cinema. Just that girl who did that dumb thing. And she's grateful for it. Which tells you everything about how Hollywood treats women in comedy. Because can you imagine if Marlon Wayans said that? Can you imagine if he went on record saying, people recognize me and think of me as the guy who did that dumb thing and I'm just grateful? He wouldn't, because Shorty is beloved. Shorty is funny. Shorty gets to be in on the joke. Cindy is the joke. And that distinction followed Anna Faris her entire career, in ways I don't think we've ever really reckoned with. Because after Scary Movie, she never quite broke through the way she should have. She did The House Bunny, which is genuinely funny and got dismissed. She did Observe and Report, which is genuinely dark and interesting, and people barely talked about her performance. She had a whole successful TV run on Mom that got treated like a consolation prize. And I'm not saying Scary Movie ruined her career, but I think being the dumb thing for 4 movies in a row does something to how an industry sees you. It calcifies. It becomes the only version of you they can imagine. And that's the really uncomfortable thing sitting underneath Scary Movie 6. Because the audience showing up to this movie, and people did show up, this thing opened to real numbers. They're not coming to see Cindy Campbell get her redemption arc. They're coming to see her get hit in the face again. They're coming for the bit. And I don't think that's malicious necessarily. I think it's just what the franchise trained them to want. 26 years of conditioning. You hear Scary Movie, you expect Cindy to be humiliated, and you expect to laugh at it. That's the contract. That's what you bought the ticket for. And Faris shows up, and she honors that contract completely, because that's who she is as a performer. She commits. She always commits. But there's this one thing that keeps nagging at me. She described the experience of making this movie as transformative. Transformative. That's a heavy word. That's not a word you use for a paycheck job. That's not a word you use for a nostalgia press. Something actually shifted for her making this film. And I keep wondering what that was. Because from the outside, from where I'm sitting watching this movie, Cindy Campbell is still reacting, still stumbling, still the last one to understand what's happening around her. But maybe that's the point. Maybe after 26 years, the joke finally turned into something else, and we just didn't notice because we were too busy laughing. Because here's what I keep coming back to. Cindy Campbell has survived everything. Every single thing this franchise has thrown at her. Multiple ghost faces, supernatural possession, government conspiracies, her own sequels. And she's still here, still standing, still showing up. And at some point, survival stops being an accident and starts being a statement. Like, at what point does the woman who keeps not dying become the most resilient character in the room? Because Sydney Prescott gets a legacy documentary in Scream 7, basically. She gets treated like a cultural monument. And Cindy Campbell gets a joke about her daughter being named Tuesday because they legally can't call her Wednesday. That's the gap. That's the whole gap right there in one sentence. And yet Faris said it felt healing, and audiences laughed, and the movie exists. And Cindy is back. And something about that stubborn, relentless, completely unearned survival, I don't know, I think there might actually be something kind of radical about it. Not intentionally. The movie is definitely not trying to make a feminist statement. But maybe Cindy Campbell made one anyway. Because that's the thing about characters who exist to be laughed at. Sometimes they outlast everyone who is laughing. Shorty is beloved, but Cindy is iconic. And those are not the same thing. Beloved means people like you. Iconic means you meant something, whether people understood it or not. And I think Cindy Campbell meant something. I think Anna Faris built something real inside a franchise that was specifically designed to be disposable. And the fact that 26 years later we're still talking about her, the fact that her return was the thing that got people excited, that the reviews keep coming back to her and Brenda as the reason to watch, that Faris herself used the word healing, that's not nothing. That's actually kind of everything. So, did we root for Cindy or at her? Honestly, probably both. Probably at the same time. And maybe that's the most human thing about her. We've never really known what to do with a woman who keeps surviving in spite of us. We just keep showing up to watch. And so does she. Every single time. Still trying, still sincere, still the last one to realize the killer is right behind her. And somehow, inexplicably, still standing.